Hi guys, welcome to this video on Abantu May, and today's subject is about addressing our own personal anti-blackness and how we can help overcome that. And I think first of all, it is so important to acknowledge the power of and the sleekness of white supremacy, in the sense, I don't want to say power because that makes you feel like it's so impossible to overcome. It's persistent and focused and ever present, but you also have a power over it. You also have a power over overcoming it, and there's certain things you can do to help you address those things within you that are in all of us. Realizing how much anti-blackness I grew up having, and nobody really even came and told me, hey, you are worthless because you're African. And they didn't have to say it in those words, because life around me, the way things were, the things we appreciated, showed me, like, subconsciously they were telling me your life and your perception of life and who you are and who you want to be is less than because of where you come from. So no one directly had to tell you any of those things. And I think sometimes even not telling someone that they are important, that they are wonderful, that they are valuable, that is enough for them to think the opposite, especially as a kid, where you need your world to be made of the things that your parents give you, your society gives. You're most susceptible to the images and the words and the understandings that the outside world gives you and puts on you. So it's quite easy in that kind of world to come out of it and survive it and realize how anti-black you are, especially if you do not grow up in a house that is very aware of this, or even has the resources, or even the time, or even the privilege of having off time or free time to address such things. So for me, growing up, these are things I've had to, like I always say, unlearn and be aware of and become conscious of as I grew. So I would say that number one is being aware of what white supremacy is, how it affects the psychology of black people or anybody who isn't white to that extent. Because wherever you go in the world, you'll notice, like, especially if the Western mentality is prevailing, you will notice a degree of anti-blackness. It's like embedded in all culture, in Asia, in South America, wherever you go, because white supremacy has invaded most of the world. It's really hard for people to survive all those things and then come out loving who they are. Being aware that it does exist, like, I would recommend doing some research, and of course I'll leave some links below for things where you could start reading about it. After that, I think there's also the awareness of your own personal either contribution to anti-blackness or your own engagement with anti-blackness, your own way of being or doing or treating yourself or others that you know is anti-black. That's why it's important for you to be self-aware, especially in the times we are in, especially understanding that there is a war for our minds, there is a war for our understanding of the world, there is a war for who gets to create what occupies our mentality, where we put our energy and all those things. I feel like you being a mindful person, you being a mindful individual and asking yourself, what about me is contributing to my own destruction? Everything is learned to a degree. Like, you're not born anti-black. You're raised to become anti-black. And so it's something, if it's something you can learn to be, it's something you can unlearn to be. So you need neutrals. And I always believe that it's really hard to stop a bad habit, just that, and then do nothing. It's much easier to replace a bad habit with a good habit. So for example, with me, it was like being aware of the television I watched, being aware of just the visualizations I took in, being aware of the music I listened to, being aware to my own thoughts, like not just letting thoughts go in and out because you are not mindful of that, and that it's much easier for your mind to be manipulated when you're not mindful of what do these thoughts mean and why do I have these thoughts, who taught me to have these thoughts, when is it acceptable to have these feelings about me or about how I look or about who I'm attracted to, who I'm not attracted to. Like, to be very critical and honest with yourself, but from a place of love, of course. You don't want to fill yourself with guilt and bad feelings, because that doesn't help either. but to be honest with yourself, because at the end of the day, only you can change those anti-black sentiments within yourself. So you gotta be a good friend and be very honest, very blunt, and then ask yourself why and what can I do to leave this behind. So for me, of course, that was then saying, like I said in my another video I made, was obviously then engaging with visions and music and movies or anything that stimulated me that was pro-black. Or at least gave me an uplifting understanding of my African heritage. All of these things matter, because when you're not aware of that, you let other people decide for you how you are supposed to be portrayed for yourself. Nobody should have that power at all to tell other people how they should see themselves and how they should feel about themselves. So it's important that you are aware of that, and that you know that when you listen to certain music, when you watch certain television, certain imagery, and I get it, I'm not like someone like who's like, don't watch that, it's a sin, don't do it. But be mindful. I used to play, what do you call it? I used to play Hitman, and I used to play all the time after school. I'd sit there and play Hitman. In the weekend, I'd almost play it the whole time because I love being inside. I was just like playing Hitman. And if you do not know, it's like this sniper, I think, or this agent of death, whatever. And he goes around killing people. And I used to do that. And I thought it was just a game until like I started like getting anxiety, like very like anxious, and then I would have really bad dreams. And I don't know if I'm just a special person in that like things really affect me, like when I watch stuff, whether negative or positive, they really affect me, and not just how I feel, but like how I act and who I am. And so I was like, whoa, okay, that I can see it as a weakness or something powerful. And so instead, I try my best to watch and consume a majority of positive and reinforcing media. It does not mean at all that you should never watch something like that, because sometimes I also feel like I don't want to be thinking about issues and causes constantly. So sometimes I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna watch something that is just going to be that, like just entertainment. Like I'm not really gonna get anything more out of it than that. But the difference is that I do it consciously. I choose to watch that, and I know that it's like when you give yourself a treat, like when you're eating out and you eat something that is more greasy or more just not that good for you, but you know you're not gonna eat it every day. You eat it and enjoy it because you know it's just a treat, you know, it's just something to try something different, to create balance in your life. And then you go on the rest of the week or whatever and you eat what is really healthy for you. So that's kind of like how I say it. Be mindful of what you consume and be aware of the fact what you consume adds to you. Ask yourself the things you watch, whether it's from your social media feed, whether it's from your television, even actually the people you surround yourself with. Are these people a positive influence on me? Do these people make me like who I am, more insecure about who I am? Do they appreciate who I am? Do they appreciate who they are as well? Because oftentimes we are influenced obviously by our surroundings and the people we look up to and people we love. Another thing is obviously to like yourself, because the more self-love you have for yourself, if you appreciate yourself, and appreciation doesn't just come with like, oh, I just love myself. It also comes with giving yourself responsibility over your life, over the things you think, over the actions you take. And of course, being gentle with yourself always. I believe in gentle and soft love. That is my love language, if there is such a thing. But I think it's also important to be aware and to be honest with yourself, and to always leave yourself and put yourself and expect more from yourself and say, I want to be better than this. I know I can be better than this. And for me, what motivates me a lot is I always think about my kids, my future children, and that really motivates me. I'm like, okay, when I have kids in the future, I don't want them to have a mom, for example, who doesn't like who she is, who doesn't like where she comes from, who doesn't know anything about who she is, only about other people and where they come from, what they do and what they contribute to. Because I'm gonna have kids that are gonna look like me. I want them to feel empowered in who they are. And I feel like because it was such a struggle to get to where I am, I wanna make sure that as much as I can, that my kids at least don't have to fight that hard to be who they are and to love who they are, by me doing the good work already right now. So you can find whatever motivation that will motivate you, whether it's your family members, your nieces and nephews, your little siblings, whatever, or even just you, people who you know that for them, I want them to see a black person that loves who they are, a black person that supports other black people, a black person that speaks kindly and wonderfully of who they are, that holds themselves accountable, and that knows the power they have to change their lives and impact it positively. But I think I'll just end by saying, like with everything in life, it's an ongoing project, and you have to be aware of that. Like, there is no like destination. It's just a journey of self-discovery, of self-love, of self-acceptance, of self-embrace, of self-joy, all these wonderful things. And as long as you're willing to get on the journey and keep going, you might stumble, you might take a detour, but you just keep going, and you know your vision. Your vision is to be a part of a world where blackness is beautiful, where blackness is valuable, where blackness is adored and appreciated and joyful. And you can't expect that world to give you that. You gotta be a part of the people who create that world. So for me, I guess that's also what motivates me, the visions I have for the future. I feel like that makes me feel like, okay, is this what I want to bring in the future? If it's not, how do I change it? How do I become a part of what I do want to bring in the future? Anyway, so that's what I wanted to share with you. I'll leave some links below so you get some more understanding of the situation. But otherwise, I will definitely see you in my next video, and I hope you guys are well. Bye!